Hey guys, uh, yes, I'm doing it again. It is 4:12 p.m. Monday, the 27th of November. It is almost the end of the year, guys. Fuck. The time has gone so fast the last half of this year. At least for me, it feels that way. I just got back from an appointment. That's why I'm kind of dressed up. One of the flannels I have, because it was like 35 degrees out and it just started to snow when I got in. So I apologize for the bra straps, but I didn't want to be too covered because sometimes I get warm, especially when like I can't control the heat in a place, or like have a fan in my face, or it's all part of the end times I'm going through. That's what I call the premenopause. So, yep. Got back from an appointment with Matthew, the health coach. So, the past week I really hadn't done an update too much about Thanksgiving and stuff. So, I did not eat, let's say, correctly, as much as I should have. I'm going to move this just so maybe I'm not so loud. Because of stressors, depression, the holidays, last week I didn't eat well. But I did, because I was being more mindful even when I was eating crappy. I was mindful that I am not a binge eater. At no point did I eat to the point where I was very stuffed and then kept eating or anything like that. It was just more that instead of having a well-rounded meal, as I should be, I reached for a pint of Ben & Jerry's. And I just ate that. Or I decided I wanted a snack, so I had some Pringles. Just some. I reached in the canister, pulled out a stack like that big. And I ate them one by one. Just to, at least have the flavor last. Make sure I was eating them slow. Still being mindful of what I was eating, even though what I was eating was not necessarily the best for me. Which I think made the difference. This isn't me setting up like going, oh my God, guys, I gained 10 pounds. I actually am down. Now, granted, I would have liked to have been down more because it's been at least a few weeks since I've seen Matthew last. But last weigh-in, I was 335.1. I'm now 334 even. So I didn't lose a lot, but I still lost. And that was without doing exercise as well, because I've kind of fallen off on that. But it's just been colder at night and sometimes even during the day. And so I haven't wanted to do the walking, and I haven't felt the most motivated to find the videos on the weighted hula hoop. But it's like I explained to Matthew, and he seemed to totally get it. when I was discussing about the way I was eating and the whys, um, it wasn't because it was an excuse. It was an explanation. And the reason why I differentiate it like that is because I understand what I'm doing. And I understand that as soon as I get my shit back together, I'll be back on track, or on the wagon, however you want to word it. This is just momentary. This isn't a complete derailment of my losing my weight, or eating better, because technically I'm trying to do that now as well. It's not just about losing weight. It's about eating better. So it seems like I've at least gotten to a... Hi! He almost headbutted my elbow, which would have been bad for him. And that was a little startling. So it seems like I've gotten to a point where I understand food enough that even when I'm not making the healthiest decisions in the ways of food, that I'm still losing at least a little bit. And again, I want to be doing better. Therefore, I need to... I just saw the reminder pop up as I was starting doing this video, but I need to find a new therapist. I originally started seeing my other therapist, Patricia, through the pain and wellness clinic that I go to for my pain issues. Because of some things that were going on there for her, she ended up going to a online program, I guess you could call it, called Skype Psychiatrist. Something like that. I always feel like I'm going to say it wrong, so I'm not even sure if I'm saying it right now, but it's like psychiatrist with Skype in it. At first, I was able to move over to that platform and continue seeing her. And I had been seeing her for about 5 years. But they decided they weren't going to take Medicare anymore. And I couldn't afford to pay for sessions. Which sucks. Because I really felt like I had such a great relationship built up with her as far as, therapy and whatnot. She seemed to understand me, and we had rapport back and forth. And especially when we first got the diagnosis about Tom and his cancer, she had gone through a cancer battle with her mom. Right around the time we started seeing each other, not me and Tom, but me and Patricia. And so she was able to tell me some of the things she had learned during that battle. Ultimately, she had lost it, but they had some time together, which was really good. But, she told me things to look out for as far as his platelets and certain markers in blood draws, that if they became elevated, it meant that the tumor was being more active. Things like that. She was helping to put my mind at ease about these things, because she understood that for me, I don't like to bury my head in the sand when problems arise. I want to understand it, to tackle it as best as I can, and ideally get past it. Unfortunately, with glioblastoma, there's more likely than not no getting past it. I keep wanting to hold out that sliver of hope, but it's been rough the last 2 months. So yeah, I recognized, especially the last few days, that I need a new therapist. Not that I need more meds or any. I need someone to talk to help me kind of get this shit out of my head, so I don't start neglecting myself, because when I get depressed, that's what happens. And things have already been sliding some. Like, at least going out to appointments, it makes sure that I'm doing things I'm supposed to be doing, like showering, grooming, but there are other things in my life that are suffering, things that I find not as important. And I need to do better, especially if living by myself becomes my permanent normal. Because when we went to bring Thanksgiving dinner to Tom in Cortland, he didn't really want to communicate that much. He didn't really interact with us that much. I feel like I'm a very intuitive person. Like, I can read people really well. Like, even watching movies. Like, I can get subtext and stuff like that, and sometimes I can see the way a movie's gonna go before other people sometimes. I was getting the impression that Tom was comfortable being there, having people take care of him like that, bring him his food. He didn't really have to do anything, really, for himself. Which makes me concerned that he's not really going to work on coming home. So that's something I have to think about and consider a very possible reality. That he's not going to do the PT, and after so long, they're going to move him to a different room for a more permanent stay. Which, of course, is going to put me in a tough bind, but I think I'll be okay. But without his money contributing to the rent and some of the bills and stuff, it's gonna be rough. It's certainly more than that. That's getting at me, of course, but it's sometimes it's hard for me to be vulnerable. Like, I'm honest with you guys and everything else, but sometimes if I can tell I'm starting to get emotional, I can get ahead of it, and that just stems back to little me and not showing weakness and not showing that things get to me because I was teased and, the hell I went through at home. And but I mean, it's been over 2 months now with just me and the cats here. I've been dating him since 97. We've lived together almost the entirety of that time. There was a stint where we first started dating that he was still living with his mom. But see, he was kind of a brat with his mom initially. He didn't realize how good he had it. He knew better, I would want to say he knows better now, but sometimes because of the shit going on, I'm not sure. But there was a long period of time where he did know better. But when we initially started dating, he didn't. And so he got his ass kicked out. And then he came in love with me because I was emancipated and I had my own place. Boys, no fighting. Humble. Yeah, you got his fur in your mouth. What the hell? I'm sorry, guys. What, you wanted his spot on the couch? Is that it? Seriously? Muffin. Well, come here. Haki? Muffin. I guess not. He's just gonna sit there and be mad. I wanted to see if he wanted some pettings. For the most part, they get along, by the way. Just every once in a while, they have a brief dust up because one wants to lay in the same place while another one of them is, or Rumble likes to groom Muffin, but Muffin can only handle it for so long, and then Muffin will smack him, and they chase each other around, and sometimes they're chasing each other around because they're playing, but then their playing turns into fighting. Yeah, I'm telling on you. But more often than not, I'm catching them laying next to each other, so, they're boys. So, yeah. There was a time where we didn't break up, but I had moved out because there was a time where there's my stomach rumbled. And I really hope the camera didn't pick that up. I'm a little bit hungry. Let's see. So, I had a long stint where I wasn't employed. Tom was on disability. And there was money struggles. I mean, that's just the truth of it. And it was causing us to fight a fair bit. So I went to live with some friends for a time, which got me to, get my shit in gear after a while. I got a job, and then I got a different job, and eventually moved back in. But apparently, Bonus Mom and Tom called it the months of hell because he was really unhappy and missed me. I visited him on days off and stuff like that, but if we kept fighting, we might have broken up. So, I had to do something, and I wasn't feeling lucky in the whole looking for work thing. It took a couple months after moving out before I got that first bite. And that was doing the thing at Shapiro's with the tuxedo assembly. And then a little bit after that is when I got the job at one of the Price Choppers here, which is a grocery store for those unaware. So, yeah, aside from those times, Tom and I have always been almost up each other's asses. But it never really felt that way, because we were fine doing our own things, but we were also fine usually watching the same things together. He liked comedies and stuff more than I did, and I liked horror movies more than he did. But we both loved Marvel movies. Love Marvel movies, and, a lot of comic book movies, in fact. Comic book stuff in general. Our music tastes are mostly the same. I'm certainly more into 80s music than he is. Some people get on somebody's case if they describe someone as their other half, because it makes you seem like you can't exist without them, or some. But it more or less felt a lot of the time like we were just the same people, in the wonderful ways, not the annoying ways. We'd play fight, but we never, besides that one time, we never, we occasionally butt heads, like on spending money, but no fights. And I didn't mean to make it into where I discussed a lot about Tom in this. I was just going to discuss mostly my appointment, but because of Thanksgiving and the holidays, it's kind of tied right now. I don't do well with holidays normally. I always get a bit more blue around this time of year. I've discussed a bit of the fucked upness of my family. If you've missed it, watch some of the videos. Especially where I answer questions, because, I give hints. I haven't done, like, a timeline, but maybe I should at some point. For all the fucked upness that happened, I still, like, I miss my mom. And I miss my sisters. I could give no fucks for my dad, but I barely knew him. But I know, like, it's just hard. Sometimes I feel like I'm a failure because somehow I didn't stick around even after I got thrown out by mom's ex Ed. By the way, fuck you, Ed. You stuttering fuck. But, I mean, I ended up here, so I don't hate the guy, but the fact that he tried to make it about my sexuality, and the fact that I was bisexual, and that's why he was throwing me out, was such horseshit. Seriously, such horseshit. He was mad that I was spending the money on the things that were needed for the house, like rent and fucking food and shit, so they wouldn't sell the food stamps and whatnot. So, for booze and fucking cigarettes and whatnot. It was just... But see, even despite things like that, like... I wish I could see my sisters, my mom. I wish I could afford a fucking fake tree. You know? And have some painter's wire set up so the cats can have a ball climbing in it without it, like, toppling over. And like, I want to be more into the holidays than I am. But it hurts, too. Hi, Muffin. You want to come up? Come on. Want pens? Muffin. Muffin. Come on. He's looking like he's gonna jump, but he's not jumping. Come on. Muffin. Oh, you found a treat? What are we doing? Come on. Come on. Oh, you gonna play? You gonna play? He's an old man, but he still likes to play. Keep hoping that he'll hop up though so I can show him to you guys. I mean, I tried to once before briefly, but he was like, oh, nope, I don't want to hop up. Oh. I just kind of monkey-toed the cord for the mic. Sorry about that. So, yeah, holidays are usually a bummer for me. But I'm trying. Like, I'm trying really hard not to let it get to me. Oh, hi. Muffin. Come here. Come here, my potato. Oof, my potato. This is my old man Muffin. Unfortunately, I can't show you all his extra toes. Muffin. Not like being held this way? Come on. Let me switch you around. Just better? Muffin. Hey. No? Okay. He's camera shy. But he's a beautiful gray and white boy. Hi, Muffin. Oh, there you can see his thumb. Oh. I'm sorry. He doesn't always get grouchy, but a little bit sometimes. I don't know. Maybe I'll see if I can find something on Mercari for them. I know, I want to get a Christmas tree for them. It sounds weird, but cats love Christmas trees. And I don't know, seeing them have fun with it, I think would in turn help me. That's the thought. I suppose we'll see. So, let me talk about the little bit of notes that he and I covered while I was there. So, we talked today about hyper palatable foods. These are typically foods that have both fats and carbs in them. And they're usually the desserts, sort of like ice cream, cookies, cakes, pies, chips, pizza, anything with like meat and cheese, croissants, chocolate and otherwise. These are hyper palatable foods. And apparently what it is, these are usually the foods that people tend to crave. And so they'll usually reach to it when, they want a comfort food, or those who binge. Because, as you're eating them, the fact that they have the fats and the carbs, they light up the dopamine in the brain, which is our reward center. And so, this is so good. Nom, 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 nom. Additionally, for certain people, certain hyper palatable foods will additionally be like, when you're done with it, you want more of. Like Matthew explained that his bane, I guess you could call it, is ice cream. Like, he can finish off a pint of ice cream, but then he still feels like he could have more ice cream. And I was like, well, thankfully that's not mine. Like, I can eat a pint of ice cream and I'm good with just, just a pint. I've looked at the calories in a pint of ice cream, so I know it's not that. But I can stop at a pint. But Chinese food is mine. Like, and the jokes, because of the rice, you're being hungry, you have an hour. It's not a hunger thing. Like, I knew what he was talking about when he was describing the reaction, how it feels. Like, with the examples he gave, that didn't hit, but when he talked about the whole ice cream thing, I was like, well, yeah, that doesn't fit. But this, Chinese food does that to me. Like egg rolls, the fact that the difference in textures and flavors, and the fact that there are happier childhood memories, of course, attached. Like learning how to make fried rice from my Vietnamese uncle-in-law. I don't have a lot of fond childhood memories, so the fact that that's one of them, I guess it definitely makes that food potentially dangerous for me, because when I am feeling like I need a comfort food, that's where I want to lean. And I don't tend to get a little bit, because I don't know, I always feel like I'm wasting a delivery driver's time if I order just a little bit of food. I know that sounds bad, but that's the truth of it. And maybe, I'm also, I help the restaurant, because usually, no, not usually, more often than not, Chinese food restaurants are run by a family. So, I mean, this is their livelihood. And so I understand that, especially during the pandemic, and there was all the crimes being committed against families like that, thanks to Trump. Like, I knew it was important to give them patronage. And it wasn't just an excuse to get Chinese food. I really believed it. It was a show of support. During a time where, in New York City, there was elderly Asian people getting assaulted during the day on the fucking sidewalk. It's still a shitty thing that's going on right now. So, yeah, I'll order stuff, but it'll last me days now when I do this, where before it maybe would last me meals. But yeah, I'll get different things because, I usually like one thing that's like spicy, and then I like another thing like coconut shrimp, but not the fried coconut shrimp. Technically the shrimp is battered and fried, but then it's put in a coconut sauce that is so good and probably so not good for you. But that can be a little too much like sweet, so then I'll usually get fried rice to go with that, because the salt, and it's a thing. And of course then I like to get an egg roll, and those reheat really well in an air fryer oven, by the way. And then fried dumplings, again, also reheat very well in an air fryer oven. So I do. It's almost like getting groceries for a week through the Chinese food place. But see, you can hear the way I'm talking about it and everything else. Like, that's my food. So, it's not so much that I have to avoid, or that you would have to avoid these sorts of foods. It's just good to understand the chemistry and what it does, and just be mindful. So when you are eating whatever's doing that for you, to stop. To not pick it up again after half an hour, to, be satisfied with whatever portion you set out for yourself, and no more until tomorrow, or, 2 days, or, whatever you're going to decide to. Sorry, my nose is getting itchy. That must have been from the cat hair earlier. But, just I appreciate that Matthew's approach to all this isn't, telling yourself no. It's just making sure it's working for what you want to be happening for you. Like, he asked me, what do I want to happen for myself for like the next week or two? Because I'll be seeing him on the 10th. And, I told him I wanted to get back in order with things. And, I understood that part of that was taking better care of my mental health, because that's obviously the trigger on why I'm kind of slipping. And so I need to work on that. And that means finding a new therapist and stuff like that. But, again, he reiterated how he appreciates how I'm kind of like a sponge. Not his words. I'm paraphrasing. But the fact that I want to learn is something that I think he used the word impressed. He's impressed with it. And I tried to explain to him that it's just something I've always wanted to do, is just learn things every day. That's why I read articles on so many different things, especially while I'm eating, which helps me to eat more slowly. And therefore, as soon as I'm feeling full, I can stop. I'm usually pretty good now about portioning my food, so I don't run into that problem. But, like, he even asked me about whether or not doing just the 2 meals a day, if that was still working for me, because if it were him, he'd be feeling hungry. And I explained to him how, I usually keep water around me. So, making sure that I'm drinking plenty of water has helped with the cravings. And I didn't get because of my ADHD, didn't get to remind him that I do keep low calorie snacks on hand for when, I actually do feel those hunger pains. Because we did discuss it, and I don't know if he remembers, but I talked to him about the light popcorn and the pan. Oh, it's Great Value brand butter spray. And some popcorn seasoning. It ends up coming out to be about 130 calories for the whole bag, because of the seasoning that I put on it. But, I mean, it's a good snack. And, again, it's not a very calorie-laden one. And, as far as carbs go, it's not horrible. And again, carbs aren't necessarily the enemy. It's just being mindful of how much you're eating during the day. Because, ideally, the thing you're supposed to be eating the most of, especially when you're trying to lose weight, is protein. Then your focus should be on fiber, preferably from non-carby things, but that's kind of tough. So then, you have to have some carbs, because a lot of sources of fiber are also carbs. Like green beans. Green beans are apparently really great in fiber, even have some protein, but they're also carby because they're veggies. Most veggies at least have some carbs to them. I have to... Hey Google, what's the carbs in a serving of broccoli?
There are 10 grams of total carbohydrate in 1 NLEA serving of raw broccoli.
10 carbs. So, yeah, still carbs. Hey Google, how much fiber is in a serving of broccoli?
There are 3.8 grams of dietary fiber in 1 NLEA serving of raw broccoli.
3.8 grams of fiber. So, again, but 4.2 grams of protein. I remember that because I saw that come up in my MyFitnessPal when I was logging some food, and it told me after I logged in the broccoli that I hit my protein for the day, and I'm like, what? So yeah, 4.2 grams of protein per serving of broccoli. So it's a thing. So yeah, making sure that you're getting that fiber along with your carbs helps keep your blood glucose even. And that's what helps not feeling that hunger in between the meals. It was something that Matthew and I previously talked about, so you could probably find it in one of the other Matthew videos. Because there were notes, and I shared the notes. But I took what he wrote there to heart, and I've been very mindful, except for this past week. I've been very mindful about trying to keep that balance. Not just having it carbs for carbs' sake, but trying to make sure that they're fibrous carbs. At least having some in there, especially if I'm doing something with like rice or potatoes. Because I love rice. That's why I love any ethnic food, it seems, that has rice. I'm just especially jasmine rice. Jasmine rice and brown rice are like my absolute faves. So I am never going to be a very skinny girl. But I hope to be a fit one eventually. That's the goal. But yeah, so if there's anything to take from this and what I've learned today, is hyper palatable foods. Those are the foods that you gravitate towards when you're wanting that dopamine hit. You're feeling shitty, so what's the food you reach for? It's probably something that's going to have both fat and carbs. Fats are usually, the things that they're kind of obvious, but maybe not necessarily. Processed meats, butters, oils, things like mayo, salad dressing, dips and sauces, cheeses, nuts, creams, especially nuts. Yes, nuts usually have minerals and vitamins and stuff in it that are good for you, but the calories and the fat in them, not so much. So you gotta be careful about that. I think it's like 140 calories for like a quarter cup of most nuts. Don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure that's a safe average. And then for carbs, basically any sugar, especially refined sugar, corn syrup, molasses, things like that, and anything that has processed wheat, breads, pastas. You even have to be mindful of like the whole grain things. But when you combine those fats and carbs, that's usually when you're getting the stuff that's, insert Homer Simpson meme. You don't have to avoid these foods, but be mindful of how much of it you're having, especially if your goal is weight loss. In the end, in order to lose weight, we're supposed to have ourselves at a calorie deficit. But, usually reducing our carbs and stuff is also usually a good thing to do. But ultimately, the number one rule for losing weight is calorie deficit. But just, if you're wanting to give it an honest shot, the whole weight loss thing, just, again, be mindful. If you find yourself maybe doing it a little too much, especially if you are like me and you're counting your calories and you're seeing that, you're nudging to the edge of your dailies or going past it, you rein it in. It's knowledge is power. And with that, you can do this. I've been doing this. I'm doing better at it with this knowledge. I did a bunch on my own, but now I feel like I can do better. I just have to actually do better, And again, I was at least mindful enough that I didn't overeat. Therefore, I didn't gain. And I didn't gain anything, but I thought I was going to gain. Honestly, at least something. A couple pounds. Possibly up to 10. I was a little concerned about that. But I lost a pound. So, weight loss isn't as scary as you might think if you just understand the rules and keep to approximation, let's say. I hope this helps somebody, more than just somebody. I hope it helps people. But this is nearly an hour. But, I had a bit to say, I guess. So yes, hyperpalatable foods, and especially during this time of year, for those who might be struggling, don't ignore your mental health. If you can, talk to someone, anyone, preferably professional, but if not, find somebody you can trust to talk to. Reach out to me even if you like. I'm not a professional, but I can at least be a sounding board. I'll help if I can. But this is the time of year that we should be taking time to reflect, to get ready to start a new year, trying to be better versions of ourselves than the year before. So I think I'm starting to take the steps into that. And it's not even December yet. So fingers crossed next year's gonna be better. So I love all your faces. Have a great week if I don't talk to you guys again before then, but I'm going to try to post more often. I really am. I'm sorry about that. I've just been trying to figure out potential topics to talk to you guys about. I don't want to just come here and blather. So if there's anything that you would like me to talk about, please drop it in the comments. Anything. I'll tackle. or at least try to tackle it. So, please, if you're not finding me annoying, hit that thumbs up button. Maybe consider subscribing so you can catch my other videos when I do actually get my ass out of bed to post. It's not that bad. It's not. But because I want to do this. Don't misunderstand. It's been hard for me. Just motivation wise to do a lot of things. But I want to do this. So I love your faces. Be good to yourselves and those around you. And we'll talk again soon. Okay?